I've been wondering about the Sengled HomeKit experience for a while, so in this video, we're going to take a look. Let's check it out. Hey guys, Chris Young here from Homekitgeek, the channel where we bring you new smart home content every single week, looking at Apple HomeKit, Amazon's Madam A, Google Home, and really whatever interests me. If that interests you, do me a favor, consider subscribing and ringing that bell so you can be notified when new videos are posted. Today we're going to be looking at the Sengled Hub. So this is going to be a two-part review where I'm going to be looking at the Sengled HomeKit Hub as well as the LED strip. So Sengled has been a name in home automation for a while. Many of you have seen the Bluetooth bulbs around in Home Depots and other places, but they are a recent addition into the Apple HomeKit world. They do seem to have a pretty good ecosystem of devices that are compatible with this, so you can add on, but they are very light-centric. So there's a lot of different colors of lights, light bulbs, BR30s, all the typical small, big, large, all that kind of stuff will be available for this, as well as LED strips. Where they fall short, though, is with accessories. They do have motion sensors, plugs, as well as contact sensors, but not all of them are compatible with the bridge. So for those of you who love your dessert before dinner, let's get into the review. What do I think of this? The Sengled Hub it's actually a really good hub, I think. From a quality standpoint, the manufacturing seems to work. I didn't have any issues with loading the firmware. I didn't have issues with loading it into HomeKit. It does require you to have a wired port available. So for some of you, that might not be a great thing. As well, the other thing that I'm not particularly a fan of is the fact that it is not using a micro USB for the power. It is USB power cord, but the end that goes to the bridge itself is not micro USB. So I think they missed an opportunity there, and if anything ever happens to that cable, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. Some of the other issues I had, and this is more of an issue around the Sengled brand in general, is documentation was really hard to find. I actually had to go to the FCC database just to find the power requirements on this particular device, in that they weren't on the website and they also weren't on Amazon. So something to be aware of. So one other thing you're going to want to look at is the availability of the accessories. So as I said, there's a lot of options here. You can get motion sensors, you can get contact sensors, you can get plugs. All of that is available for this, but that doesn't mean they're going to be in stock. I have had this for a few months, and I've been looking to try to get those other devices so I could do a more thorough review of the bridge, and just decided, hey, I'm going to dive in now, because I couldn't get them. They weren't available on Amazon.ca, and they're out of stock on Amazon.com. So that's something to be aware of. If you're going to jump in here, make sure you're buying these for the right reasons. And that's going to be for the light bulb aspects of this. There's a lot of options there, which is great. And again, it seems to work really well so far. Let's take a look. The Sengled bridge, this is the E39G8C version, and that's the HomeKit version. So this is a newer version of the bridge. So if you're going to pick this up looking for HomeKit, make sure you get the right one. It is a Zigbee 3.0 or Zigbee Home Automation 121. In the 2.4 to 2.475 megahertz range, Zigbee channels 11 through 25. It has a max of 64 devices according to the website, but if you look at the FCC filing on it, which I did have to find some of the other information I needed, it will support up to 150 of the Element devices. This is a wired Ethernet device, so you're going to have this close to your router or switch. It is a power is 5 volts to 1 amp, and it is 3 inches by 3 inches by 1 inch. Now, this does support Amazon's Madam A, Google Assistant, as well as I said, HomeKit, and it's a pretty good little bridge for devices if you can find them. So let's get into the unboxing so you can get an idea of what's all in here. You can see on the packaging, everything is clear, Madam A, Google Home, and HomeKit. So if you do not see HomeKit on the box, chances are you've got the wrong bridge, right? So you might want to return that and get the right one if you are looking for HomeKit support. Everything you're going to need to get set up is in the box here. Again, as a reminder, this is not a wireless Wi-Fi bridge. It's wireless in the sense that it's Zigbee, but you're going to have to plug this in somewhere close to your router. The other thing I want to point out is that the USB cable here, it drives me crazy a little bit, but they use their own power to go into the bridge, right? They did not use a micro USB like some of the other bridges out there, which I really wish they would have, right? That is one thing that if anything ever happens with this cable, now we've got a problem. Thankfully, this is the new style QR code, so we're going to be able to put an NFC tag on this so we can tap to add. I'll put a link to the video on that if you're not aware of how to do that. It's a really clean way to be able to recover your devices if you ever have to factory reset them. Of course, I'm going to take this and go put it in my garage now, which is where my network core is, my switches, routers, all those kinds of things. So we're going to take it over there, and then we're going to go through the setup. So we're going to go through the entire full setup here. There's 3 different modes that you can get the Sengled to work in, and that is HomeKit only, in which case you're not going to get firmware upgrades or any of the advanced features. You have the Sengled home app with a registered account or without a registered account. And the without a registered account, the problem with that is you're still going to get firmware updates, but you're not going to be able to connect to cloud services like Amazon or Google. You're going to need that as well as some of the scheduling things that Sengled has in their app itself. So as you can see in the background, we are adding the Smart Hub here. We're going to click on the next button, and it's going to start to connect. Now, this is going to take, they say 20 seconds or so. They definitely mean that. I found actually it was probably longer than that, to be honest, so we'll do a little movie magic here. And now the hub is connected, our app is loaded, all that good stuff, and we're going to go in and name our hub something meaningful. Again, if you've got a bunch of these different hubs in your house, just name it the name of the manufacturer, right? If you've got, makes it easy to see when you're dealing with the Sengled hub versus the Philips Hue hub or Akara or whatever else you're looking at. So it looks like your Ethernet hub, again, I'm not even sure why that message was in there, in that it doesn't connect to Wi-Fi, at least not that I have found. So the last thing we're going to do here is go and do a firmware update, and this took a while. It does say in the app that this could take up to an hour for some devices. It wasn't an hour, but it definitely, my hub was offline for a substantial period. So in the background, to make sure that this video could be a little more interesting, I actually paired the LED strip already. I'm going to cover that in a separate video, more in depth, so I'll put a link to that up here. But I did want you guys to know what was happening in the background before you went, hey, wait, where did that come from? So for the last step here, we're going to connect it to Apple HomeKit directly, which is as easy as clicking on the Add Accessory. We're going to scan in the code on our documentation. Again, you could tap to add, you could scan the code on the back of it, all those will work. And really quickly, it's going to come up and running. Now you'll notice we don't have to transfer our Wi-Fi settings over here because this is a wired device. As I mentioned, I've already got the LED strip added here, so we have a device that we can put in a room. So we're going to do that and name it something appropriate, so it's going to be easy to address either using Siri or just being able to visually figure out where it is later. We will put that in the right room, which is my office, and then we're going to go over to my office and take a look. Again, Siri, it's getting better over time. It's going to suggest scenes for you, so take a look at that if you're interested in. I pretty much know what I want to do with this already. And as you can see, we've got all the HomeKit controls. So let's move over to a video to kind of show you guys the coloring that you'll get with the Sengled LED strip. So one of the biggest advantages to a bridge like this is the fact that it's extremely responsive, right? You can see here all the HomeKit controls consistent across pretty much all of the different devices, the light strips. And from an LED strip standpoint, this has great colors. Again, we'll cover more of that in the actual LED strip review, which I will put a link to. And with that, that brings us to the end of the Sengled HomeKit bridge. What do I think of this overall? I think I covered it most. I would give it a thumbs up with the warning that make sure you understand what devices you plan on using this with and that they are going to be available for you. Again, I understand we're in a point right now where sometimes getting stock on anything is a little bit difficult, but honestly, I've had this sitting on my desk for a few months, and previous to any of the stocking issues that we're seeing right now, I still couldn't get the motion sensor or the contact sensor or the plug, which are the things that I'm interested in looking at. I've got a lot of lights from other vendors. The LED strip works great, absolutely, but I find it a shame that I seem to not be able to find the other devices. What do you guys think? Let me know below. If you have any questions, put those in the video comments. I would be happy to get back to those as quickly as possible. And in general, if you haven't subscribed already, please do me a favor, do that, ring that bell. Likes, shares, always appreciated. We'll see you guys soon.